My Agenda is a series on Academy FM where we will be speaking to the Cabinet members at Shepway District Council to find out what their roles are and what plans they have for Shepway. On this edition of My Agenda, we speak to Shepway District Councillor for Romney Marsh Ward and Cabinet Member for the District Economy, Alan Clifton-Holt. One of the first babies born in Ashford's William Harvey Hospital in 1979, Councillor Clifton-Holt spent his childhood in Romney Marsh, then moved to boarding school at the age of 13 in Somerset. Studying at Agricultural College in Essex, Councillor Clifton-Holt graduated with a degree, pursuing a career in fresh produce agriculture, moving back to the family farm in 2005 and helping to start a recycling firm with the family. He then moved on to win a seat at Shepway's District Council in 2007. Welcome to My Agenda, Councillor Clifton-Holt.
Hello.
When did you first become interested in politics?
In 2005, we were having a number of issues in the local community and as a business and as a family. And myself and the family thought it would be a good idea to get involved in what was happening locally. So I joined the local parish council in 2005. So started then, and then in 2007 got asked to stand as a district councillor for the Dymchurch and St Mary's Bay ward.
So it's quite a quick move from local council to district council, and still quite young. What age were you when you first stood in the local council?
I think I was 27 from memory.
Is that quite young? Is it generally?
Yeah, it's fairly young. Most parish councils are made up of 50, 60-year-olds, and I was definitely young. And yeah, it was quite a surprise move, I suppose, for the community, but I seemed to enjoy it and achieved some things. So yeah, it worked. And then came into district council 2007 and yeah, really enjoyed it and did well, I think so.
You've had a few different roles within Shepway District Council. What have they been?
I've run quite a few things, whether it's the district economy, which I run at the moment, which is everything to do with economic development and planning, back through to customer services and revenues and benefits, which was a completely new experience of dealing with some of the really hard to reach people in the community and some real major issues around benefits and why they're receiving benefits and what we can do to help them. I also had a really interesting role looking after what we called alternative service delivery, which was looking at services and deciding how was the best way to deliver those services and who was the best people to deliver them. Whether that was ourselves or whether to set up an external contract or whether to stop doing those things altogether.
And when did you become the Cabinet Member for the District Economy?
My portfolio last changed in May of this year when we had a new leader. I had a very, very similar role before that for about 2 years beforehand, but my current role is 2013.
With your experience with recycling, was Councillor Love not a bit worried for his position?
I don't think he was too worried. I have quite a bit of banter with him and competition, I suppose, on different ideas on how we can deliver things, which is good, and that's about local politics. Politics isn't about one person having all the ideas. It's about lots of people having many ideas and debating those ideas for the best result for the community.
Cabinet Member for the District Economy, what does the role involve?
Meeting lots of businesses, trying to work out what is best for the businesses, but also trying to overcome some of the major issues like the workforce. How do we get the right people into businesses so they can be achieved, or so the businesses can continue to grow and to have greater growth. It's also about trying to find the right funds so businesses can expand, and whether that is through the right employment spaces or whether it's actually just money to try and expand. So I've been quite successful in achieving some of that through the Regional Growth Fund, the East Kent Growth Fund, and the Marsh Million that recently been launched on the Marsh. So we've been quite good at that. We want to do more of that, and we want to expand that out further, but it's trying to find the right money with the right priorities for what we want to do in Shepway.
So it's quite a lot that comes under your portfolio: development control, planning policy, building control, economic development, regeneration, tourism, heritage and conservation. What would you say is your agenda?
The major thing for us is about growing the economy. So it's about the ED side of it. The planning side, yes, it is important, and yes, it affects many people. And often when people talk to the council, the only time they will talk to them will be about a planning application. And we want to see that succeed. But the major thing is making sure those planning applications deliver something for the local economy. And if we can build businesses and if we can build the opportunities for businesses, then there'll be more employment for people and better jobs for people in the wider community, which means they'll want to stay and live in the community rather than disappear. In my own ward, which is Romney Marsh Rural, we have a huge problem where people live there, but there's no work there. They have to go and work in Folkestone or in Ashford or in other towns, and we want people to live and work in their own locality and enjoy what they're doing. And it's trying to create those opportunities for those businesses so people can do that.
And of course the Marsh Millions hopefully will help with that, because it's quite, as you said, rural Romney Marsh. So is it difficult to get people to stay in that area to work? Is there the work there at the moment?
There is work there, but the challenges coming forward are going to be quite significant. If you look at the power stations and the nuclear industry at Dungeness, it's going to be incredibly difficult over the next 5 to 10, 15 years' time, as the power stations close down, as the decommissioning finishes and winds up, how we deal with that as a community. Just one power station provides over 500 jobs. And then you get the support industries around there directly involved in the nuclear industry, but then you get the add-on service industries to supporting those people that are employed there. And you look at the impacts of what those power stations closing down, they're quite significant. And one of my biggest worries and biggest concerns, and one of the things I spend quite a lot of time about, is how we can compensate, how can we do things differently for the area of the marsh, but also the wider area that it affects. Get people supported and get people into work beyond the nuclear industry.
Do you think the Marsh Millions is going to help? Is it enough?
It's not everything. We certainly don't believe it's going to be everything and everything we're going to focus on. We want to do a lot more than what we're doing now. The Marsh Million is one strand. Another strand is apprenticeships that we're working on. And we've also recently appointed a Romney Marsh coordinator who will be working to try and bring other projects forward that perhaps I haven't thought of so far, that we could create that employment, create that opportunity for people to succeed in the wider area. Also
in your portfolio you have regeneration tourism. What does that mean exactly?
A lot of them kind of fold into one, if that makes sense. The regeneration, we're already on that path. We've already succeeded in achieving a lot of things, and that's been down to ED and to the other aspects we've got. But tourism is quite unique for this area. We are incredibly fortunate in the fact we have a huge coastline that we do a lot with. We have a huge amount of history in the area as well. There can't be many other local areas that has the World War I trenches that they used to train on, the War and Peace Show, the Port Lim, Romney Marsh Light Railway. Those sort of tourism opportunities are huge, and we are incredibly fortunate to have that. You can look at Canterbury and the Cathedral. You can look at other areas that have major tourism facilities. They're usually only one. Shepway is incredibly lucky that it has numerous that attract a lot of people in each in turn.
Is it a bit of a vicious cycle, tourism? So you need to sometimes invest money. Things need to be regenerated before you can expect a certain amount of visitors to come in, but then you need those visitors to come in to get the economy flowing, to be able to invest back into the town.
Yes, it is. Tourism and any business is a huge risk. You have to invest beforehand, and you have to have that or accept that risk that you might not get your return back. But usually you do. And it might take the time to come there, but usually you do. If you look at the Triennial, the first one was a huge success, but it wasn't as big a success as the second one. And the third one, which is due next year, is going to be hopefully even better. But Roger Tahan did very, very well to start with by saying, actually, it's going to be a long process to get there. It's going to be over 9 years to try and get that full amount of success all the way through. And it's how you build that during those years. You're not going to change the world in a day, but you are going to be able to change something over a length of period of time.
The redevelopment of the harbour, although that's not done from Shepway District Council, it does pretty much touch on every single part of your portfolio. If you think about tourism, economic development, planning, building control, heritage, do you think it's going to be good for Folkestone?
Yes, it's going to be the biggest change for Folkestone in the last 100 years, and probably for the next 100 years. I cannot think of any other development, anything else we've done as a council or the community has done, where there's going to be such a huge impact into the community. It will be massive for us. It will regenerate house prices. It will regenerate the old part of the town, which we're starting to see already. It's going to deliver a huge amount, and I'm really, really excited about it, but it's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it takes a bit of time. We're already starting to see some of the work that's happened around the creative quarter, but that's all part of that plan for Folkestone Seafront.
During your position in the council and the various positions that you've held over the last sort of 6 years, what has changed and what do you think has been the greatest achievements of the council during that period?
The way we work has definitely changed. When I first joined the council, it was very, I suppose, council run. It was very stuck in local government ways. That's changed dramatically within the council. We've certainly got a big agenda, and we've got a way of moving forward, so we're actually much more flexible and realistic about what we're doing. And that's made my life as a district councillor, doing the role I have of looking after the district economy, much more easier. We have to bring out schemes like the apprenticeship scheme. We've done that. We've brought that out a lot quicker than we've ever been able to in the past. And that's been a huge success of the past leader, the present leader and the chief executive to achieve all that. So I would say that's one of our biggest successes. There are lots of little successes. When I speak to some of the officers in the council, I've always said to them I didn't want to be doing some grand project that we were going to be doing for the next 20 years and slogging away at it every day. I wanted to do lots of small little projects that we could do in 6 months, a year, 2 years, but lots of them. So the greater quantity of those small projects would deliver a bigger result than the one project that you would try and get done over 20 years.
What are your plans for the future in your position as Cabinet Member for the district economy?
I certainly want to see us increase our business base even further. I'm working quite hard to create incubation space so new businesses can start up. So there is the opportunity for and the space and the support for business to start up. I want to see people upskill what skills they have. So we're certainly giving support to that, and we're certainly giving support around the apprenticeship side so people have the opportunities for that. But there needs to be some major employers in the area, and we need to find those major employers. If you look on the marsh with the power stations closing, that is going to be a real risk, and we need to try and tackle some of that and try and help support that. A new employer in some shape or form come in to take some of the strain for that. We need to help support businesses like Saga and make sure that they think of Folkestone first when they come to create new jobs. We don't want them going off to Hastings or to Thanet. We want to put their employment here, and that will only benefit the wider community. I was really pleased to hear of Church and Dwight's plans only a month ago, saying that they want to create more jobs in the long term. They want to be here in Folkestone for the long term. Yes, there's going to be some short-term pain from them, but it's really good news that they're going to be here for the long term and create a sustainable economy in the local area, and that's got to be the priority for everyone in the district.
Councillor Clifton-Holt, thank you very much for joining me on this edition of My Agenda.
Thank you very much.